Ladies and gentlemen, our fourth session will be media literacy or e-literacy empowerment. We have VP Director General Han as our moderator today.
On stage， 首先邀请教育部中小学数位素养教育推广计划主持。
First of all, we welcome the young Professor Zhou Qian from Yangming Jiaotong University.
At NetSafe, Mr. Dist, please join us on stage. 接着，我们欢迎数位素养实验室创办人陈慧敏，请上台。
And we invite Chen Huimin from FatLink and from Line Taiwan, the Public Affairs VP, Ling Ruofan, on stage. Welcome. Now, we give our time to give the floor to our moderator for the session. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. There are so many young faces among us today. We actually invited from Taiwan University students in e-literacy to join us today. As a field trip, we're so happy to have an NCC Internet Forum to discuss a very important session with everyone, which is the empowerment of digital literacy. As the moderator, I mentioned in the past few years, I teach digital literacy at Taiwan University, and traditionally we don't have news broadcasting courses, but young people are filled with internet, digital world, and using the phone. But when we are in this digital space, there are a lot of new and happy things, but there are also lurking dangers, which is why in the past few years, including our government and our CSOs have devoted great resources to digital literacy education, including at National Taiwan University. Students without news background can take this course, including our speakers today. Our panelists today are in the education and outreach for digital literacy. I would like to briefly introduce our speakers. First of all, to my immediate left is the Vice President of Yangming Jiaotong University. Did you know Yangming Jiaotong University is a large university, and the VP of the university has a very busy job, but she has been in digital literacy education for over 20 years, and she is taking on a project regarding our lower and middle school digital literacy program. We're so happy to have Vice President Zhou with us here today. And next, our next speaker, Michael Bestombo. Michael comes from New Zealand and is from a company called NetSafe. He is the chief legal advisor, and he talks about he's going to provide expert advice on media supervision and regulation, and he's done a survey in New Zealand regarding digital literacy, and he's going to share with us his results and to talk about what are the challenges in providing or promoting children's digital literacy. And the next speaker is someone everybody is familiar with, Chen Huimin, who's familiar with fact-checking in Taiwan. Huimin is the founder of FatLink. I've known Huimin for over a decade. Beginning of our friendship was she started in news, and then she moved on to fact-checking, and she worked at worked as the chief editor at the largest fact-checking organization in Taiwan, and now she started her own fact-checking organization, FactLink. Finally, also an old friend, familiar face, and everybody knows her. Everybody has a Line account in Taiwan, right? We need to embrace the good and bad of Line, and this is Ruo Fan. She is the vice general manager of public affairs department at Line Taiwan. And Line being so prevalent in Taiwan, people use Line to communicate a lot of things. There are a lot of disinformation online because Line is a closed chat group. So it's very difficult to fact check a lot of the information online because it's not an open social media device, but they have a very good relationship with the government. So they work very hard in helping to fact check the things shared online. So having heard their background and their experience, they are experts for this session. This ends my part as the moderator. I'm going to give the floor to our first speaker, Vice President Zhou. Thank you, moderator. I would like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to be on this panel with the wonderful speakers alongside me to talk about digital literacy empowerment, especially following the child and youth protection session. We would like to thank the organizer for arranging an educational session. I have a very long presentation, up to 88 pages. So my topic is on digital literacy empowerment, accompanying teenagers to grow up in the online world. That's very important. First of all, I'm talking about the implication of education. What is digital literacy? Basically, it's making good use of the digital media, being good at or being fluent in it, and using it for the good and not for the bad. It's very important. You don't just want to know how to use it, but you have to have critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and have decision-making skills, and be creative. The most importantly, you have to have this compassion and also a civil citizen state of mind. So when we talk about all of this use of media and digital safety, security, when we talk about SEL, emotional learning, and respect, and literacy, and so on and so forth. In the past, when we talk about literacy, we only focus on its technical side. Oh, I know how to use it, and that's it. But we need to have an appropriate attitude and the habit, and most importantly, you need to cultivate and practice citizenship. And in the era of AI, you need to be more capable and not disabled, and AI needs to empower us and not replace us. If we look at the 2019 syllabus, you can see the literacy is in the syllabus where AI literacy or sustainable literacy is going to be introduced. When we're looking at the tech information, the IT information, and media literacy, it's in the syllabus, but we don't have as much relevant teaching materials. And when the teachers are in a hurry, they skip this, and children don't learn this. So in 2025, the government has published the digital literacy framework contents, the 4 pillars. It's about security, content, skills, and communication. So we have the DCOM 3.0, or the difference is we place the regulations and ethics first, then we talk about skills and data processing, and then we talk about communication and problem solving and collaboration. Then we talk about content creation and literacy. So it's very comprehensive. When we talk about digital literacy empowerment, it's not just for the students, but also for the teachers and also for the leaders in education. So it's in 3 levels. And in terms of the children needs to have citizenship. They need to have the literacy, please read through them. And in terms of the teachers, they need to be a role model for students' digital citizenship, and they need to allow the students to learn and use digital technology in a fair and comfortable environment. And the education managers, because they are the ones practicing the policies, they need to be equipped with the concept of D&I, because I work on the MOE's digital literacy education resource, the e-literacy resource website, and it's been going on for 27 years. We never imagined it would last so long, because in the beginning it was just about children skipping classes and leaving home, and also being addicted to the internet. But after 2 decades, we outlasted all the ministers of the Ministry of Education. So the Ministry of Education has long known about the problems and wanted us to develop various teaching materials to first help the teachers, empower the teachers, for the teachers to be able to teach the children. So we continued this. This is our team. It's formed by a lot of professors in universities, and we have a lot of teachers from the frontline middle schools and elementary schools joining us. You don't need to register for this system. We have a Facebook. We have a registry. You're not forced to register. So a lot of the times the MOE would ask us for stats, but we are unable to provide the stats. We have a lot of lesson plans, and you can look at these are our promotion resources, because it's diversified. It's going to be used for the teachers. You need them to be accessible to students. It's about 3 to 5 minutes short clips. It inspires the students, and then you have the learning sheets to discuss things. So it can be used for teachers in class, it can be used by parents at home, or students can use them themselves. So it's a very flexible resource, and it comes in diverse forms of media. In the theme area, you can see in recent years we started a dedicated area for Little Red Book. They have a lot of short clips, reels, so we teach people how to watch these reels, especially for AI and generative AI. We have a lot of teaching materials. We have lesson plans. We have articles. You have online courses for teachers to learn, and then they can teach the students. And also, very important would be the reels, there are a lot of things here. If you have the opportunity, just type in e-literacy. It's not a very easy word to spell, but you will also be able to find it on the first item of the search, because we didn't pay for the commercials, but so millions of people use it, so it's always at the top of the search list. And we have a lot of animations for the teachers. The teachers have very good feedbacks because it's very humorous. And a very important task for this website is not just for the students and the teachers, it's for everyone in the society. So we have a self-evaluation activity, and we have the traffic record here. You can see the unique number of participants. You can answer the questions, and you can see what's the level of your literacy and see your categorization. So for example, last year we had over 200,000 people participating, and we also have the base schools for middle school, elementary school, and high schools. It supports all of these schools, it supports all of the ages, and it even supports the parents. So these are the base schools for North, Central and Southern Taiwan. So far, we don't have any schools applying for Eastern Taiwan, but we provide them various sources of these resources, and during summer schools and and winter holidays, there are a lot of illegal programs, and we do a lot of promotions. There are also education exhibitions, and starting 2 years ago, we started making these game apps for ages in grades 4 to 6. They start playing games, so we have a virtual detective club, and for students, we want them to start using these devices later. Then they play tabletop games. But basically, these board games cover present, future, and the past, and it covers things like DeepSeek or disinformation that can be brought about by AI. We focus not only on traditional digital literacy, but also we want them to be equipped with citizenship. So this is about, we want to really keep them company, and parent teachers should cooperate, and there should be multiple channels for children and teachers and parents to really grow up in an ethical environment.
Thank you very much. It's very impressive. You're able to finish more than 30 PowerPoint slides in 8 minutes. And I like your conclusion. Next, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Michael. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Detom. I come from NetSafe. NetSafe is an organization based in New Zealand focusing on online safety. We've been around for about 26 years. We provide digital literacy education in schools. We have a website with comprehensive content, and we are also appointed under a piece of legislation called the Harmful Digital Communications Act to run a complaint service where members of the public can make a complaint to NetSafe about some online harm they've experienced, and we try and resolve it for them. So we work with digital platforms, amongst others, to assist people. So today I wanted to present to you some research that NetSafe undertook with one of the universities in New Zealand, the Auckland University of Technology, concerning digital resilience in youth. So we've been providing digital literacy messaging for a number of years, but there's a growing concern that adult-centered messaging is not cutting through to younger users, that the digital landscape in which people are using technology has changed fundamentally and the messaging hasn't kept up. So we wanted to know whether our messages in New Zealand and from our organisation were going to be effective, and if not, what should we do to change? How can we make digital education more effective? Now, one of our key pillars of NetSafe is that whatever approaches you take to internet regulation, digital literacy is a mandatory pillar. So whether you ban children from the internet, whether you provide adult controls, you always need to ensure that digital literacy is one of the key planks of that. So what was the research? We worked with children themselves to find out about the context in which they were using the internet, what their everyday experiences of online risk were. We wanted to ensure that we were hearing from children themselves. And so we undertook a month-long project with secondary school students, and the project wasn't just a simple survey, it was a survey, it was focus groups at the beginning and the end, and it involved giving the group some digital literacy messaging and getting feedback from the students themselves as to whether those messages were actually relevant to their experience. So what do we find out? One of the key findings that intrigued us was that online risk, the biggest vector of online risk comes from the social networks, the peers themselves. So harmful content is shared in peer networks and group chats. Misinformation and disinformation comes from trusted sources. And so a lot of the digital literacy messaging is that there are bad actors, there are strangers out there, you need to watch out for them, or the algorithms are the ones that are serving you the harmful content. Whereas actually what we found is that the highest proportion of online risk arose from the peer networks. Another interesting finding was that the context in which young people are operating, the infinite scrolls that they're looking at, within that is scam information, misinformation. This is just a constant background that kids know exist, but they continue to use the internet anyway. So it's important to understand that there is this context. One of the other key findings or outcomes of this research was understanding why some of the messages that we have been using fall flat. The key concern is that a lot of digital literacy messaging is too generic. It doesn't take account of the actual experiences and knowledge that young people now have about the internet. Some messaging is too moralizing. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's also too basic. Many times adult-centered messaging doesn't come from a position of experience. Sometimes the messaging puts too much burden on individuals themselves. That online risk and dealing with online risk is your responsibility as a user. It doesn't take account of the obligations at a systemic level on platforms, for example. And a lot of the messaging does not treat the users of those messages, or sorry, the audience of those messages as a key actor. Rather, they're seen as a passive audience rather than an active participant in creating and shaping those messages. So, what's the way forward? The research puts forward a few recommendations. Media literacy initiatives are more likely to succeed when those creating the messages recognise young people as knowledgeable participants and co-researchers. So moving away from the generic or basic information created by adults, you really need to involve young people themselves in the messaging. Test whether the approach you're using is going to resonate and therefore the message is going to stick. We also need to address the social nature of online risk. So online harms, yes, they come from strangers, they come from algorithms, but they also come from trusted friends and family. The misinformation that spreads through networks comes from your neighbour or your classmate, not necessarily from someone you don't know. Messaging needs to be designed iteratively. By that I mean you can create a single message, but you need to test it with the audience, improve on it, undertake an analysis and address criticisms that youth might give back to you. And then finally, we need to treat young people's resistance to messaging as an insight rather than a barrier. So rather than dismissing concerns that young people have about the messaging, let's probe why those messages do not stick and learn from that. Thank you very much.
So thanks, Mike, for your share.
感谢 Mike， 感谢您的。
Especially directed to some points about how maybe some we have to evaluate the effectiveness of media literacy education, and one challenge is regarding how we teach or how we interact with young people, and especially user driven, not teacher or not teacher driven. Okay, thank you very much. 来，我们下一位哈，那
Our next speaker is Summer Chen. Yes, my name is Summer. I am the founder of FactLink. Our organization was founded last year. However, I was involved in AI literacy many years ago. Most of our members are journalists and researchers. We want to focus on debunking. And we are also focused on identifying false messages. Since last year, we want to focus on pre-bunking. We wanted to do this because it actually is related to our teachers. Because every time we want to fact check, we are always a step behind the misinformation. That is why we want to focus on the source, which is education. We found that after a certain period of fact-checking, we need to teach or educate the public how to identify false news. This is the reason why we have organized forums and workshops every year. We have found that a group of teachers, we know that the educational sector are actually promoting teachers teaching digital literacy. We have met a group of teachers, and we have also met a group of very enthusiastic students. The teachers came to us wanting to learn how to fact check. It is when we started to connect our job as a journalist with education. I think this is a very important step. In education, we know that Taiwan wants the children to be able to have the ability to think critically. Therefore, if we want to fact check, if we want to distinguish which are right and which are untrue, we need to have this skill. And therefore, over the past few years, the media has been very active. It has been very diverse. There are many organizations that are promoting, there are many organizations that are trying to teach the skills of journalists in fact-checking, trying to teach them to students. During the process, we also engage in research. And through this, we will be able to translate our skills as reporters and journalists to the students. Over the past few years, there are many organizations, for instance, the Media Watch Foundation, and also organizations that are focused on young students. They have also conducted workshops focused on teachers. There are also other organizations that have also conducted training for teachers. There are many media organizations that are very focused on not only telling children how to listen and look, but also how to use critical thinking to identify false information. This is the past few years what we have been doing. It's a very important step that we have been taking. During this process, we have been invited by teachers to help them prepare their lesson plan and then to translate the way we think as journalists into their lesson plan. For young students, we are also focused on their digital literacy. We know that the young people don't like to be told what is right or what is wrong. They don't like to be told what is true, what is untrue. Therefore, if they are able to fact-check themselves, this is one route. There are also other options. We make use of board games to allow students to think critically and to increase their interests. Last year, for instance, we have tried something that was very interesting. We worked together with two artists, Lin Jieying and Zhuang Yirong are their names. They have actually organized an exhibit in Germany, and we make use of media and also art. We connected the two together in order to come up with a new idea. This is their artwork. You enter a space. This space is like a sushi conveyor. And within this conveyor are different messages. The messages include some of the most controversial issues in Taiwan over the past 15 years. And each student can leave messages or, write messages that relates to these messages. And during this process, we have observed that the students have been very enthusiastic, and all of the couples that participated will discuss the different incidents, and they will also discuss the comments and leave their views. During this process, we also wanted participants to understand the algorithms and also understand some of the situations happening within the media. So when we designed this activity as a game, there will be actors within this game. There will be people acting as the chef. There will be actors playing the role of a politician or of journalists. So we make use of this to let the participants experience the different roles within the game. We want to be able to make this experience closer to the high school students. This is why we also conducted experiments. We went to the school campuses to invite them to experience how to, for instance, fabricate a false information, and to let them understand how easy it is to make up something that is false and how difficult it is to fact check. With this, we asked our students to participate in the exhibit that we organized after that.
So they can use their body to actually experience the things that they see when they're scrolling their phones, and it allows them to really rethink when they're using social media and think about their behaviors. And then afterwards, the teacher will discuss with them all of this. And through this art and media literacy, we can inspire them to learn and also to experience and to really turn everything into very bodily essential things. And because it's a very safe space, people can really discuss all of these just and fair topics. It's the most difficult part about this, and the most precious part about this is people are able to be very forgiving and tolerating towards discussing all of these sensitive issues, and we open this possibility so that education feels its purpose of education. And also, one of our main challenge in media literacy education is that when we talk about media literacy, we should move further than just stop and check, because there are so many new phenomena out there on the internet, especially with AI. AI has posed more complicated situations online. For example, how AI is used in information manipulation, radicalizing people, and you have bots talking to people, replying to you. And there are a lot of posts that are generated by AI, a lot of news that are generated by AI. How do we turn them into teaching materials for media literacy and bring them into our courses, there is actually a great gap from phenomenon to research and turn research into teaching materials. It requires great effort. So last year, the biggest effort we made was we formed an AI detecting experts helping us on this, and experts on researching trolls, and also a community of journalists, and using this journalists to really focus on what media literacy and AI literacy should focus on in our education. And we turn these into teaching materials and then use them for the journalists in schools and community colleges, and turn them into different levels of teaching materials for different ages. For journalists, we want them to have the capability of gatekeeping. For teachers, we want teachers to be able to cultivate students' critical thinking in schools and also in community colleges, because it's the most down-to-earth venue. So we want them to form a trust circle. That was our biggest effort last year. Thank you. Thank you, Summer, for sharing your research with us. And there is a saying, we learn as we play, and turning games into education may be more accessible for students, children and youth, and to really understand the essence of media literacy. Now, talking about algorithm, we all look forward to platform vendors talking to us about your current status and your current ecosystem. Now we give the floor to Ruofan. Unfortunately, Line doesn't send things via algorithm. We always say if we can provide a premium service so that everybody always see my message first, that would be the best. As the only service provider here today on this panel, I would like to thank the organizer, and I would like to share with you from our perspective, what do we see? Line is a very special and unique service in Taiwan, because if we look at the users in Taiwan, if I remember correctly, we have about 22 million users. It's actually more than 93% of the population, of the total population in Taiwan. It has such high penetration that there are so many problems that could become more complicated because of the penetration, and we need to solve them. But when you're trying to solve these problems, you're facing challenges that are different from other social medias. For example, algorithm or messages that parents send you, it's not sent to you because of algorithm. It's sent to you because your parents want you to come home for dinner. And there are also problems. For example, there is the privacy of communication and your personal data. So it's not like, oh, okay, I can just grab your phone, look at your phone, and then look at your line and adjust things and solve problems. In the past, Line has helped to solve, helped and worked with the government on multiple cases. People already know that. First of all, we started with safekeeping for children, and then in 2019 we talked about disinformation, and in recent years it's the fraud and scam. Line has really participated in all of these fights, and as a digital tools, it's so deeply penetrated in everyday life of our citizens. Of course, all the problems that you have digitally, you will have them in Line. So we work with we engage in public and private collaboration, and we work with everyone. Everybody is waiting for that final heroine to really block all of the problems and to stop everything and tell you, okay, this is a scam, stop this. But as Ruofan talked about earlier, there is the privacy of communication. You don't know that other people are communicating. So for example, when your children is playing online games, and because the children wants to get a paid for a virtual weapon, and they accidentally leak the numbers or the personal data of their parents. These are things that we are unable to stop. In addition to working hard with the government and closely with the government, there is something more we can do. That missing puzzle would be media literacy. We empower the children. In my product, I warn them, I set alerts so that they can protect themselves in terms of their personal data. For example, when parents are handing the phone to their children, they can just turn off the function where you can add friends by knowing the telephone number. Or when I give the phone to children, you tell them, don't find people friendly just because they say hi to you online. So in terms of media literacy empowerment, we keep thinking about how do we make up all the pieces. Are there any missing pieces that we need to work on? And I think that would be the literacy of our users, because today I focus more on children and youth. So I would like to take the example of us working with our youth and children partners. We work with iWing, EasyPat, and Jui Academy. So why do we choose these three partners? I must admit, there is only so much we can do as a platform when we are trying to solve a problem. I always want to find the partners that are most familiar with what the problems are and they know what's going on. So with my strength and the strength of my NGO partners, we can amplify our resources so that more people will know about this. We can go into the remote areas, go into all corners of Taiwan, go into different online and offline venues. We can talk to parents, students, and teachers. So with our partnership with iWin, I think it was in 2021, there was an event. iWin said to us, maybe we can teach the parents how to communicate with their children and build a safety net for them. So a lot of children are sharing their intimate photos online. They were probably being scammed or an unknown trust, or because they were being pranked on. And the parents would say, why would you be so stupid and send your intimate photo? But instead of doing that, maybe we can teach the parents to convince the children to trust them, to say, okay, do not be afraid. Even if you do something really stupid, I'm here for you and I will catch you. So through a game online platform, we teach the children and teach the parents how to communicate these really sensitive issues. For example, if I accidentally sent my intimate photo to a stranger, can I go to someone can I go to my parents? And also the parents will know, okay, what are the ways I have to help them? And also there is also a thread function in line. People like a lot of games, just like our partners shared earlier on. How do you enhance or reinforce your education and your campaign and its impact on people? You need to make it fun. So our most popular service back then was, we realized that people like to take these psychological tests online. So we use this game to teach children what bullying is. I don't know if the students here today still understand who Kaput is, but Kaput is a very popular icon designer and emoticon designer, and if you get to this character, you will know what bullying is. If you say things like this, that constitutes bullying, and leaking your intimate photos and things like that. There are a lot of services and campaigns that we design alongside our partners, and then we move further on to younger students, so that the students feel like, so that they know, you may feel like you're lonely and you need someone to keep you company. You think there is an older brother or sister online that keeps you company, but don't tell them which school you go to. Don't tell them what's your name and in what grade you're in, because it could be dangerous for you. So we turn them into picture books. so children can read them, and also teachers and schools can share them with different schools. So we work with Genie Academy. They can train the trainer. So we may not be able to go to these places personally, but if we provide these teaching materials and picture books to schools, the teachers can spread these information around. So we talked about literacy earlier on, and I said, so Lion, you're not doing anything yourself. You just want to turn your users smart and know how to protect themselves. But actually, pre, during, and post-instance online, we monitor these things. We work with the regulators and the enforcements to quickly capture or arrest these perpetrators. And every day we have, for example, our public platforms or the private communications. We separate them because we are a platform. We build the tools. We are the best ones to know how to handle these differently and accordingly. Now I'm moving on to my last slide. I think in recent years, we've noticed that around the world, there are certain policy trends. For example, we are restricting students from using the internet, but they are the original native digital era and generation. So I think we should stick to what they're most comfortable with and most familiar with. And in the digital world, we can optimize our tools. Maybe I can work with NGO partners in terms of digital literacy campaigns so that these children will have the knowledge and the capacity to empower themselves. So I think I'll stop here because I think I used up more time than I should have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We look forward to platforms being able to more effectively screen out the bad information. Our organizers have been very meticulous in preparing the agenda. So we now only have 11 minutes. I'd like to ask whether we are able to entertain questions from the floor. If you have any questions, please do. Yes. If we still have time, perhaps I could ask our panelists to give us some final remarks. I think one of the questions for today is how do we effectively cultivate digital or media literacy? This is a challenge that we face. How can we know that the promotion that we are doing is effective? Sometimes this is just like a teacher lecturing in class, but the students aren't actually taking in any of the lectures. Our panelists today have shared very good methods by using games, by using drawing books, or by using psychological tests. My second question or second issue that I would like to talk about is AI. Professor Zhou mentioned that she started her website in the year 2000, and today she's already a senior vice president of the university. She is still continuing with her website. Everybody is using websites, the web today. So how can we effectively disseminate contents and reduce risk in using the internet? So I would like to use this lull to let you think about my questions. There's a question from the floor. Yes. So we look forward to your question. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Thank you for your very insightful presentation. Yes, I don't know how to pronounce the surname of Mr. Michael Dist. Yes, I'm actually curious. I'm now in my 30s. I was once a child, and I recall the different restrictions placed on me by my parents. But today, I still like to read, for instance, the books written for young adults. The children needs to be protected. You mentioned that many of the harmful contents are from people you know. Therefore, today, our education is focused on children. What about the elderly? What about parents? For example, Taiwan is now an aged society. My father is more than 60, and therefore the education for the elderly is likewise important. What do you think? Yes, this is a student from Taita. Yes, do we have another question? I'll just take one more question. Okay, no more questions. Now let us answer the question. Yes.
Michael 可以回答，谢谢。
I very much agree with you that all ages in society need to undertake or have the chance to experience digital literacy education, and not on a one-off basis, but on a continuing basis. So actually, I was thinking about how to answer the first question, how do we cultivate digital literacy? Well, you've got to get everyone involved. It's a whole of society approach, a whole of society obligation. Elderly grandparents look after their kids, their grandkids. Do the grandparents know what the grandchildren are doing online? Do they know what to do when something goes wrong? Does the grandchild relish the opportunity to go to the grandparents because they know that the controls that their parents place on them fall away? Equally, does the grandparent know how to use the internet? Are they subject to scams and financial loss, for example? So, yeah, very much we need to educate everyone in society about how to use the internet. And as technology changes, we need to re-educate. We see with AI, for example, everyone's learning how to use it and what the risks are. And if you leave one age group out, then you are creating another vector for harm.
谢谢哈。其实我觉得这些新的课题跟数位生
I think this is not only relates to new technology, but in everyday life, because we really don't know what the young people of today is thinking about, because the content that they have access is sometimes beyond our imagination. We don't know what to tell them, what advice we could tell them. So before we end, I would like to invite our panelists to give us some closing remarks. Or do you like to, or would you like to address the two topics that I raised earlier? So this is your final chance. Do you have any closing remarks? Again, we'll start from Professor Cho. Yes, I'd like to address the issue of adults. We have been promoting literacy for many years. I think the most we have overlooked parents. Our teachers are very competent. They are very willing to learn how to lead students to cultivate their literacy. They are also very concerned about the learning of their students. They also use, for instance, tablets in their teaching. However, many of the misconducts, such as bullying, such as not wanting to sleep or spending too much time on the cell phone, happens at home. internet addiction also happens at home. For children, this is a very bad thing. However, some of the children actually learn this from their parents or from their grandparents, because the parents themselves or the grandparents themselves actually set very bad examples. Therefore, the bad habits of parents, of adults in families, actually will have a very big influence on the children. And this is our concern. And this is also one of the challenges that we face.
I'll address the AI problem, and it is a problem. There is going to come a point in time when digital literacy in respect of AI is going to be ineffective, in my own view. We're teaching people how to spot an AI-generated image by looking at things like how many fingers people have, those kinds of things. But we know that the image is going to be the worst it's going to ever be, in the sense that the technology is just going to keep on getting better. I don't want to end on a pessimistic note, but I think it's critical that we teach everyone in society to question what they see on the internet. And I don't know how we do that, because people are on the internet all the time and you'd end up questioning everything that you see. So if anyone has the answer to this, let's have a chat afterwards, but we do need to find new ways to stay ahead of the curve of AI development.
Taiwan has very high media literacy, regardless of the age group. In the latest survey on fake news, the survey actually lasted 4 years, and it tracked how the residents in Taiwan look at fake news. The survey found that many people actually had the habit of fact-checking. Therefore, we can say that there is a certain level of resilience as well as literacy in Taiwan. This is a very, very difficult to attain. For the different age groups, for instance, the elderly, the teachers, the students, one thing that we see is that everybody is very passionate. For instance, if there are workshops, if there are forums, people would participate. It is very easy for a forum or a workshop to be filled up within 3 days. And this is not very common, especially in other societies. However, in Taiwan, I think what is most valuable is that everyone is focused on learning. Everyone is focused on elevating their levels of literacy. We talk about different age groups. Normally, the young people would say that the elderly are the most vulnerable, while on the other hand, the elderly would say that the young people are the more vulnerable. So they would say that they are more susceptible. However, we need to understand that everyone might be susceptible. Sometimes the young people may be overconfident and they would receive false information without they knowing that it is not true. Of course, there are strengths and weaknesses of the different age groups. In the recent years, there are many organizations that are working to elevate the literacy of the elderly. For instance, there is an organization that has been around for 5 years. It has invited different teachers to teach media literacy to the elderlies. And these teachers work within communities and they work with the elderly. Many of the students, although they are old, but they are very young at heart. Currently, we can feel that media literacy is very important. However, there is also certain inadequacies. This is because of AI. AI has brought about many changes, many new phenomena. That is why when we try to train media literacy, we need to add new things in order to be able to deal with the emergence of AI. This is an area that we need to work together to address. In addition, the government has also spent much resources to teach people about AI, to teach people how to employ AI into their daily lives. However, there is a driving force that is very important, which is media literacy. While we are promoting AI education, it is also important to teach people how to use AI for trust, to use AI for good. This is one of the focuses of our media literacy. In addition, we are also promoting AI for good. And in the process, we also need media literacy. There needs to be a link between the promotion of AI and media literacy. I think that is important. We adopt a two-track process. Thank you. Yes, for Line, the APP, we need to focus on our strengths. We need to be close to our users. I will give you an example. What can Line do with the false information? We actually created a website. We engage all of the fact-checking organizations. So if a user receives a piece of information, and then we will allow. So when the user receive a alleged false information, we can actually relay the information to our back end, and the back end will actually verify this message. This appears to be a very simple approach, but it's actually a consolidation of different efforts from different organizations. So they will be able to quickly send the results of their verification to the users. And when the user uses this function, they will become more aware. So when they receive a piece of information, they will say that, oh, maybe I need to verify this. So how can, for instance, a user tell his father that the message that he received is false? So basically, he can use this verification function.
So that's an interesting example, but there's also the fraud and scam that you know. Over the Lunar New Year, we launched an activity called Crime School for anti-fraud. So we simulated all of the scenarios that we've collected at our customer service center, and we designed them into 13 questions survey. Even I didn't got full marks, and it was very difficult. If you've done this test, this survey, you would never be scammed into voting for these other people's pets photographs. Thank you. That's very insightful. Thank you. I would like to thank our panelists today. There were so many things that you talked about, especially private-public partnership. And I think that really embodies what everybody is encompassing today and embodying today. We are building a trust community, a trust circle here. I would like to thank Hui Ming for mentioning this. The National Taiwan University Resilience Center, we just published a disinformation survey. It responds to the generation topic, and we have a third-party effect. So in our survey, we asked the question, can you tell disinformation if it's disinformation, and then you ask your friends and your family if they can tell disinformation. And the third-party effect told us that people often overestimate themselves. They feel that, oh, I won't be scammed, but my parents or my grandparents might be. So you think that children, they are more vulnerable to scam because they are younger. But when you think about parents and grandparents, they're not native digital generation, so they're often sending these scam information or disinformation as well. So I think that's something we need to look at. And also about public-private partnership, we would like to thank NCC for hosting this wonderful forum today. In our survey, we asked the question, with disinformation so rampant, what do you think would be the most effective way, and who should be responsible for it? And the general public feels that the government should take responsibility and make laws for it. And media literacy ranks very low. So I think, and today is email represents the second most effective, which is the media should improve its quality in its report. I think, simply put, all of the disinformation online, when we look at them, it's not just about the problem of the platform. I think in this information ecosystem, traditional media is still highly expected. The legacy media is still highly expected by the general public. So thank you for bringing that up. So I have this opportunity to share this survey with everybody and this report that's newly being published. We would like to thank Michael for traveling all this way to Taiwan to sharing with us your experiences from New Zealand. We have so many international friends with us today, and all of the university students from National Taiwan University today. Thank you so much for all of your input today, and I hope you've had a fruitful day. Thank you very much. We will end this session here today. Thank you very much. We would like to again thank our moderator and our panelists. We will now take a group photo.
Please remain seated and face the camera in front. And 1, 2, 3. Cheese. One more picture. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thank you so much.